very, very worrying with pretty much listen, it's pretty worrying. World Cup XI is on the route to being complete. We are well, it's the final now, isn't it? Which is to be played next weekend. Me versus DC. We're going to talk about controversial moments, not so controversial moments. What went wrong in the World Cup, what has to change, and what on earth. Let's go on to the positives. DC is in the final. We won't talk about too much of what happened within the game just yet. But DC 4, Batman 0, and DC 5, Alex Ava 1. Not to drag out on the results. Pretty good for DC on his first ever World Cup. He's got all the way to the final on his first ever World Cup. Some may say, yes, it came in quick succession of maybe he did get a bit lucky against Alex A, maybe he did get a bit lucky against Batman. But there was no help from the referee, and I do not understand where some of these accusations are coming from. I can't make every decision and get it right. I'm just generally watching the game. It can't be down to me to sort the game in time out and get every decision right. Obviously some will say that my controversial win over 30, yes, it's a bit controversial. Alright, it is a bit. But that's a very chaotic game, and both semi-finals were just chaotic. And I will go and start saying well done to DC, well done to Footy on some really good efforts in the World Cup, well done to Full Melee as well, really gave me a game and a half. But I would also want to point out Batman and Alex Aid here. They've both lost to DC, and unfortunately, you know, Alex Aid has not taken it well, but we'll get into that. And, you know, there's some I'm going to defend, and I'm going to point out a few things. I'm also going to do the same with Batman that I think was incorrect and I think was correct. I think going into World Cup XII, which we'll go into, but I think, actually, let's focus on this World Cup for now. I think coming up this week is a massive game. In the final, it's going to be played here. It's an absolute massive game. I'm just going to measure the pitch as well, because it's absolutely massive compared to some of the ones I've built. Oh god, it's absolutely massive. 153. And straight across as well. 101 metres, pretty massive for a pitch, to be fair. So I'm quite impressed with what I've built here. It's not the best I've built, but it's decent. It's quite good for a final. I'm looking forward to playing here next weekend. But I think for me and DC, you know, I'm not going to go full sweat mode on him. I think he's going to give me a game. If I score early, of course I'm going to sit back. I don't want to just beat him 11-0. And I don't think I probably could the way we've all been playing. I think the only good players have been DC Full Melee and Footy, DC and Full Melee. They've been the only decent players. I'm not judging against anyone else. Me, Barman and Alex A, we've been miles off the pace. We've looked absolutely miles off it. And I will talk about that because there's reasonings. I think the reason I'm sort of in the finals because Full Melee gave me a game. I did get a slice of luck in the end, but I think I've thoroughly deserved to win that game in the second half. Alex Aid thoroughly deserved his win against Ruler, but it was not quite convincing at some points. I thought Ruler seemed to really get hold of that game and he just made so many mistakes. But he needs to sort that out by next World Cup. Badman obviously losing to DC 4-0. Something wasn't right there. And there was nothing I couldn't have been. I was never biased. I didn't really have to make any decisions. I think Batman got one free kick and that was sort of forced because he's like, oh, 5 fouls. I think the problem is I ain't going to go into great detail just yet. What I'm going to say is I think let's go on the World Cup matches. So first up was, I think we'll talk about the Kofal game first. 3-3 against 30. That was a very good game. That was sort of the start, basically. It just kick-started the World Cup. A massive 3 points for 30 on penalties, but I thought Kofal gave it everything. I thought either side could have scored another one to clinch it. So that was a great game. I thought, you know, and Kofal very well composed. Definitely didn't have enough training. But he played very well, to be fair. Second game, or what was the actual first? Fortnite and me. Fortnite took, so I took the lead. I was pretty much dominating. Fortnite scored in the last minute of the game under constant pressure. The overtime went on for a bit longer than I actually realised. I actually didn't actually notice the timer had gone off. But that's largely on my fault. In extra time, I did score. High press as usual. And it probably could have been 3-1 in the end. So that was a 2-1 win, but Fortnite played very well. I thought, next game, Ruler versus Alex Aid. I ain't going to dive too deep into that, but I'm going to say Alex Aid, he had a few shaky moments. And that comes down from, I think all of us did. I think the problem was, I thought Ruler was going to score a few times. Not at the start. When he had the ball, I thought, oh my god, what is happening? You know, I thought Alex just needed, I think he needed just 1 or 2 training sessions where he could just get back into it. I thought first 5 minutes, promising game. It looked like Ruler had it, and then Alex grew into that game and he got a massive win for him. DC and Badman, 9 goals, good start from Badman. Scores 9 goals within 2 minutes, so that was a poor start. And that poor start led to more things, obviously. And that poor start was really poor. It was really, really poor. I don't know. I do not know. I don't really know where it went wrong. He didn't tackle the ball. He didn't have anything. He didn't play well at all. He didn't. He had a poor game all round. It's hard to be harsh, but he had a poor game. And by saying he had a poor game, he had a very poor game. Might have been just enough game. Moving on to semi-finals. Me versus 30. 30 goes 1-0 up. I equalise. Free kick. He's not standing the way. He's not. Don't think quite got the memo where you have to kind of stand away from it. He's standing 1 yard from it. He makes it 2-1 with practically no time left. Then makes it 3-1 as I'm trying to sort of blimmin' timer out that was going off. And then it was the last kick out. And the match just went on and he somehow lost 6-3. Don't ask me how he lost 6-3. You know, he will lose 6-3 every now and then. You know, some will say, yeah, that rule needs to be looked at. We'll go into the rules as well. Absolutely shocking performance. Though, from me. I thought I did not have any control of that ball. So I think I need to sort that out. I thought Alex and DC. I'm gonna say it again. I thought going into that game, if Alex had lost, he was not going to be happy about it. And I did think he might make a point of it. And that was my biggest fear going into that game. And I had a right to feel that that was going to happen, because it did. It's not a nice feeling. I did feel a little bit nervous, and I hoped he'd just take it on the chin and just get on with the game. But I wasn't overall surprised at 5-1. that's when he lost. It's just when it all went wrong then. And I thought, yes, you can have an off game. We've all had the off game in this World Cup. He's had, I've had the off game. Batman had his off game. I think Alexei just had an off game. He's making quotes after the game that there was gliding. I didn't particularly see it, and I think the reason that is like I'm doing now, I'm jumping quite high in the air and you press X again, and some players accidentally do that, but I can't really see it. I'm more focused on what's going on with the play. All I can see is him jumping, so he could have been gliding 4 times. I don't recall seeing any of that. And apparently, that's 4 penalties. The rules have been an absolute shambles in these World Cups, but we'll move on from that and get into that in further detail. He's also saying he tackled him 5 times. We made an agreement at the start of the game. If you saw the bars where you kick your player forward 5 times, it's a foul. I only saw it 4 times. He was close to his 5th, and he would have also got a yellow. Alex said he's quoting that as a penalty, which again, I'm not giving it as a penalty for that. Again, that needs to be looked at, because I noticed DC was doing it repetitively, but it's like Alex says in the game, what's a foul gonna do? You know what I mean? I don't really know why the issue has to be made of, it's a foul. I also want to make a note of, he feels it's rigged, and I feel like we can't enjoy the World Cups if everyone's just going to go, it's rigged. It's rigged, it's rigged. Everyone just says it's rigged. And it's only the players that win on their day. If Alexander Bauman had beaten DC, it would have been fine. There would have been, no, it's not rigged. It's just the fact, of course we're all going to say it's rigged. I've said things are rigged. Well, of course I always say it. It's the fact that it's just come after a good World Cup, mate. Just say GG and move on. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's the 30 thing. Yeah, get over that. I was annoyed because blimmin' footy was, every 5 minutes kicking me off the ball. I was blimmin' lagging, missing the ball. And Alex said it's the same thing. It was no different for him. No different for any other. Same for Bauer, really. I don't really know what happened. I don't know. Maybe it was just the stadium. I don't really know. But we just didn't have the best game. So I don't really know what else to say other than that. And, the 5-1, yes, it looks bad, but I don't think he honestly deserves to lose 5-1. He had a couple of opportunities. I feel like when when I felt at the start of the game, if he'd lost it, he's going to do what he did. The fact I knew that was going to happen, I think summed up what happened in that game. The fact is, both Batman and Alex Said have quote unquote sort of rage and not had much of it after the game, and sort of lashed out on me and DC because of them losing. And I just think, come on now, we're World Cup 12, you've lost 1 game, come on, let's just move on. If you have complaints, just privately put it forward, just say, look, the rules need to be changed. The fact Alex Said's gone and then left, removed, and all that nonsense, it just hurts. It's just making these World Cups feel a little bit like, right, and so that's another player that's now annoyed. Probably won't be in the next 5,000 World Cups because they've lost 1 game, and it's just been a shambolic World Cup. The results haven't, and the games generally haven't. The rules do need looking into. The fact is, this World Cup wasn't meant to start till this week, but we pushed it forward because we thought everyone was ready, and they were. It's been a really good World Cup, but the rules weren't really looked at, with all the IO guard stuff and all the new rules that normally come in after a World Cup, and yet, I've tried my best to solidify it. And there we go. It's pretty much an end of the era. I feel like you know now. I feel like I will go on to what went wrong in the World Cups, but what did go wrong? It is a top question. I think it's generally... I think it's a weird one. Because... I'll say it now. I don't think it's at all correct. So I think... I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know quite what my reaction would be to what happened. I will tell you this though, it's a long way back. I hope Alexei just sees sense, you know. The problem is, right, and I know he will probably not like this, I think the difference between him and Batman is Batman will rage, pretty much take a few hours and then come back. With Alexei, what worries me is this could now be like years and months of just this now, like, you know, the removal because of a rigged game. I just think, you know, it sort of hurts inside as well because you think, oh, what have I done wrong now? And I feel like the problem is you can't do these World Cups if you can't even enjoy yourself. I can't be doing everything in the players' tunes. You know, I can't be making every decision. I can't be making biased decision. And I think I made a good point earlier. If DC is getting a few extra decisions in his favour, he's not trying to be rigged. Alexei's got, and Batman have got to remember, in their first couple of World Cups, they would have got extra decisions just to help them too. Just to help them find their feet and get in the World Cup. You know, they're now, they've been there nearly 10 World Cups. Plus they've played, both of them have played Friends for United. They're not going to get as much help. They should be okay, and they have enough game. I think we've all got to accept that now. I think it's an absolute joke. I don't really want to do World Cups when both Alexei and Batman have just maybe need to just take a minute and realise, hold up, this is a completely different World Cup now. There's IO guards involved, there's new stadium, new rules, ins and outs. You know, there's loads of different things now, loads of different players. It's a different era, it's not like it used to be, is it? You know, they've not played in ages either. Could be down to lack of training, it just could be down to an off day. It could be that maybe that they just feel it's rigged and it's just not gone their way, it's won. You know what I mean? Alexei's won the World Cup twice and got very unfortunate in a few World Cups. But I feel like, I know he is a very talented player, but I don't think the talent, I think there's two things. His talent and his ambition to win. His ambition to win has led him on to win, but it's also led him on to just sort of do silly things like that. And I've just sort of got confused I can see why he's done it, and it might just be moment. It could just be, well, I'm sick of the World Cups. The rules need changing. You felt it's biased, something's not gone right. The rules, I will agree with him. I don't think the rules have been right, and I do think some games have just not gone swiftly because there's a lack of understanding of the rule. That's fine. That happened in World Cup 1. Like, give me a chance. I've barely had time to prepare for a World Cup, play, get matches done, and do the rules. And there's no point of implementing the rules halfway through. You know, you've got to have them throughout the World Cup. So in World Cup XII, so World Cup 12, if Alex Aim comes back, which I doubt he will now, then, you know, hey ho, you go again, rules are in, it's better. The problem is, you know, I've said I might step down after 5 World Cups, so I might just only really play if I have to. I'd miss playing. I really would miss playing. You know, but I want other players to win now, and I think the worry is I think Alex A really wants to win every World Cup. Everyone does. But he's come so driven into that where he hasn't won one in a while, it's a problem. I feel sorry for Bowman as well, because he's been there since World Cup 2, and, you know, he won World Cup 8, but blimmin' now, that was a scrappy game. And it took him a long time to do that. Alex could win it in his first World Cup. Just let that live in memories and go again. You know, I hate to say it, but maybe it is just time for the old players to just move on a little bit more. We're used to just the crouching, sliding and tap-ins. That's not how the new players are being taught. They're working on corner tactics in and out the game, what to do in that possession, how to tackle. Players like Alex and Batman were never taught that. They were just taught how to finish and blimmin' like crouch. Because at that time, that's the start of the World Cup. Since World Cup X, we're just doing different things, and it's just a different era of players now. Like, you can see DC is gonna be the next thing. He's gonna be the next Alex Soda, I reckon. I reckon he could beat me next week or next weekend, and he will probably. Obviously, we're gonna have to make the referee decisions for ourselves, but I'm not gonna rig it, obviously, because it just doesn't go down well. You know, I felt like when I beat 30, and there was like loads of added on time, and I thought, yeah, Alex Aid, if he loses, he's not gonna like that at all. The fact is, I'm having to manage. I'm gonna have to make changes in my own games on purposely just make other games better. I feel like that's become a problem since like World Cup 4. I feel like you lose, you rage, you get angry, you call it rigged. And it's a big worry, and it's something that has to change. Because it is worrying. I'm not going to sit here for 40 hours and say, right, this and this is the new rules. Like, it's simple. They're just the new rules, right? Just need to just be tweaked a little bit, and then it'll be alright. This World Cup's been a bit shambolic. There's literally another one pretty much next week. Literally, correct myself. There is a World Cup next week, maybe, potentially. World Cup 12 will start next week, and the final will just be on the weekend. Just get them all done now. We're on a roll again. You know, I don't know what it was. I think it was 8, 9 and 10. It was all back to back. The World Cups were just back to back. They were constantly coming, and we were on a roll, and we just needed a break. That's the last time they pretty much played. And they have been pretty scrappy this year. I think we need a massive win. I don't think it really matters what happens on the weekend, to be honest. I think DC, he's done really well no matter what, and I think Alexei and Bauman, is it maybe time to just, you know, is it maybe just time to become one of them new players again and get used to the new system? Or is it just time to maybe, you know, just become a natural player, like you're not so much as a legend anymore, you're not got such high expectations, you've just got to take the loss as a loss. The reason Alexei did lose is because DC's just had that extra training, he's had more advanced training, he's ready, he was hungry for it. Same reason. It must be addressed by next game. You know, I've had 2 off games. I thought full melee and footy had me at one point, and to be fair, footy should have. But it's for actions in game that he didn't. You know, I think you've got to give, Alexei's got to give DC the benefit of a doubt. That, you know, if he was gliding, if he was, you know, slide tackling, doing things he shouldn't. It's his first World Cup, you know. You'll get with those rules eventually. Obviously, Alexei wasn't here for a long period of time, so loads of rules changed over time. Well, there's loads of rules that changed over time for her, since he wasn't here. So, I think for World Cup 12, just knuckle down, choose which option you want. I don't really understand why Alexei wants to just leave the World Cups on a whole. You could just win your 3rd World Cup next time, or you just need to get used to the new way of playing. Obviously there's going to be decisions that go against him. I don't want to see DC nil, Alexei 8, because, you know, of silly tackles that he's making. He didn't, I don't think he could have lost 8-0, even if I was being biased today. He played really well. Those are results I don't want to always see, because it just knocks the player's confidence, and I don't want raging. No, I had to knock off a few goals. DC could have been 7-0 up against Batman, he did score a few more. I've had to knock a few of them off, because I knew if, to be fair to Alexei, he raged at a pretty good time. You know, there's about 3 minutes left and DC was just getting the goals in, and I do wonder if it could have been 8-1, and that could have just been it. I know players that just lose like 40, sorry, like 4 goals or more, and it's, you know, they rage. And they rage, and you just never really end of it in theory, so. I don't think the raging, I think the raging from Ruler, Alexei and Batman will be forgotten about. I think whether Alexei decides whether he won't come back, but if he decides in like 5 years time, oh, hold up a minute, that was World Cup 11, it's now like World Cup 31. I made a silly mistake, it was one game, let's go again. I think that's fine, do that. It's a World Cup, it's just a fun tournament that's not even fun anymore. And he's gonna say because it's rigged. If you think it's rigged, then you need to write the rules yourself. It's not hard, it's not easy to please 2 players. And you know, I want to make a good impression on the new players as well. Obviously they're gonna need extra help. You know, they don't know the basics like you've been taught. But it's been a shame because we've missed out on some good matches this time round. Ashley Young versus, you know, blah blah blah. Rayan didn't even feature. the Birmingham Derby was meant to happen. We've got some great contests coming up next World Cup. That might be the final one of the year. And I wasn't expecting, I said this one might have been the last one. That's because I thought this one would be next week, and then, you know, it's Christmas time. I think I've got to look carefully now. It's the World Cup period now. You know, it's the real World Cup as well. Premier League's on hold. Nothing more to be said.